First thing this morning, as is my custom, I took my dog for a walk, and we went up Ashland Mine Road, which is really quite a lovely place. And about halfway up the hill, there's another little dirt lane that goes off to the right. And we'll often go up that way. The smells that are on offer are particularly enjoyable for Luna once we get off the pavement. So anyway, this morning we were just about to turn the corner, and it was still not quite fully light, and we looked on up that dirt road and saw a large dark shape about 50 yards away, heading kind of diagonally across the road, and I said to Luna, "Not today." We're going to just go straight on up Ashland Mine Road a little ways. So finally, after a month and a half or so of being here, I've seen flocks of turkeys and herds of deer and all kinds of good things, but that was my first Oregon bear. We didn't get those so much down in the suburbs of San Francisco. And it reminded me that there is a whole world out there full of creatures that are different from us. That are going about their own business without, they certainly are taking notice when we come around, but they have their own errands that they are doing, and it's best to just let them do those sometimes. Which is actually the way it is among us humans as well. There's a whole lot of them out there, and they're all different, and they're all doing their own thing, which can make it challenging to live in community. Very challenging, in fact. Which is why perhaps a whole lot of people don't even bother. Which is why perhaps we see in our culture an ever-growing tendency toward valuing the autonomous individual above all. To say that the only way to achieve the common good is to maximize private choice. To say that the world is divided into winners and losers, and to the victor go the spoils, and the devil take the hindmost. But those aren't the values of the gospel. We are called into community by Christ. Community with one another for the sake of the whole world. And that means accepting the fact that we are different. That we have to find a way to love one another, even when that isn't an easy thing to do. Even when those whom we are called to love are coming from different backgrounds, have different values, different opinions, different personalities and temperaments and political affiliations and worldviews. And nevertheless, we need to find a way to come together and to move forward together for the sake of the world that God loves so much, so that we can be a sign to the world of that love. A love that is not simply some kind of castle in the sky, but a practice, a discipline, a way of life, something which we are continually striving to do better and to even perfect. Not that we will likely get there anytime soon, but we have to keep trying, says Jesus. I have an old family friend, somebody that I was a friend of my parents that I grew up knowing. He's a Benedictine monk, and I remember one time he said to me, you know, community is the place where the person you least want to live with lives. So yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy to love. But our loving one another has the advantage of being grounded in the love that God has for us. That's how we can do it, in fact. Jesus says, I am the true vine, and you are the branches. If you abide in me, then I abide in you. If you love me, then my love is in you. And that is how you can love one another, even when you're different. Even when you disagree. Even when you disagree about things that are important to you. Where compromise is painful. Where admitting that you might not have all the answers may threaten your sense of self. Even when loving someone truly means saying no to them. Drawing a boundary. Maintaining it. Even when that causes conflict. So yesterday, our vestry, our governing board, went on retreat. And we spent a lovely day together out at Nicholas and Gail Bates' house in the hills between Phoenix and Jacksonville, in their beautiful home and garden, and we got down to work together to think about how do we really love one another? How can we as leaders at Trinity Church intentionally commit to practices and disciplines and covenants of behavior, of decision-making and information sharing and upholding leaders while also holding them to account. How do we do that in a way that will have a salutary effect on the whole community? Not just this community, but that community. And one of the very practical kind of test cases, if you will, that we were considering as we were discussing these matters was the decision that we just recently came to as a vestry to welcome Uncle Food's Diner back to Trinity Church. Uncle Food's, if you don't know, is a free meal that happens every Tuesday afternoon here in Ashland, where anybody who's hungry can come and eat. And it actually started here many years ago and then went elsewhere. For a long time it was over at the United Methodist Church, and the food preparation is still going to be happening there because they have a commercial kitchen. We don't. So volunteers will be preparing food there and then bringing it over here. And the truth is that at a certain point, folks at the Methodist Church found that doing this ministry was not really compatible with other things that they were doing, and there were problems that they felt were beyond their capacity to manage. And so Uncle Foods went to Pioneer Hall for a time. And then that building was condemned or something. Anyway, they were told they couldn't do that there anymore, and they went to Lithia Park for a while. And then Elizabeth Hallett, who's the executive director of Peace House that sponsors this program and is a member of Trinity Church, came to our vestry and said, "Can we bring it back here?" And there were, some questions and concerns about that. And I've heard that other folks in the congregation here at Trinity who are not on the vestry, but who know some, people, know some of the histories, some of the problems that happened over at the Methodist Church, have also, been raising those questions and concerns quite rightly. Like, how is this going to impact us? Open the doors of our parish hall every Tuesday afternoon to whoever shows up who's hungry. It involves some risk and some unknowns. But we've kind of talked through those concerns with the folks who run Uncle Foods, and we think we've got a plan that will work, and systems in place to ensure that it is a safe and harmonious exercise for everyone involved. All those different kinds of people who will be coming together with the different kinds of people who are here, and that somehow we can make it work. Because we have love. And if anything can make it work, it's going to be love. The kind of love that God showed us in Jesus Christ. And not only do we have this promise in the gospel that when we take the risk of loving not only the people who love us, but even the people who we don't like, even the people who are so different from us that they're frightening to us, that we really do have nothing to fear, that God's love is sufficient to overcome everything that we are afraid of. If we can hang in there, if we can be faithful and disciplined in loving, not expecting it's going to be easy, or that we can, just summon up from somewhere within ourselves warm and fuzzy feelings for other people. But Jesus says that my Father will be glorified in this. If you have love for one another and so bear fruit, the fruit of compassion, the fruit of kindness, the fruit of fearlessness, the fruit of telling the truth. And so become my disciples. We are still learning to become Christ's disciples. And that is to the glory of God. Because this vine, of which we are the branches, is not something static, not something fixed, not something immovable, but it's a growing thing. It's a living thing. Christ lives in us. us. And that means that we are continually learning who he is, what his love for us means, how we put that love into practice and show it to others. Sometimes our branches are fruitless. We try something and it doesn't work. We give love and all we get back is, rejection. We have to cut a branch off here or prune a branch there because it is bearing fruit and we want more fruit from that branch. And this is God's work in us. God trusts us not to love in some idealized or abstract way, but to love in this down and dirty, try it out, see what works. Sometimes you fail, sometimes it hurts, sometimes it's incredibly rewarding, but we're learning how to do it together. And in that, God is glorified. In fact, that's how we learn who God really is.